2146 is your SMS line. This is business. My name is Simba Elijah Charles here again. Now let's introduce the next part of our conversation. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has reset major work trends in businesses. Now leaders rethink their workforce and employee planning, management, performance and experience strategies, as well as quality deliverables. Now, the pandemic has made many organizations adapt the new working style, also known as hybrid work system, where they can either work from home or a combination of working from home and having some staff occasionally working from the office. Now, this might actually be a permanent change and something that organizations would want to adopt. Now, the highlight of the magnitude of this debate, the effectiveness of the flexible work system in the future of work. We are joined by Rose Mwende, head of growth at Turkey Power, and the Bolt country manager, Ola Akinunsi. Rose and Ola, welcome to Metropole Television's Business Am. Now, Rose, I want to start with you this morning. Now, there's already an ongoing debate about the future of office. More companies and experts now envision a hybrid future with more time spent working remotely, yet with the chances to regularly convene teams. Where are we at that? Is that it?
Thank you so much. So I think that, of course, COVID has fast-tracked the future of work. The future is now here, and many companies have had to adapt they've had to adapt into remote working or a hybrid system. So depending on the business that you do and your services and what the nature of your organization is, then you have to adapt to either of the two or the three, because there's also being on-site fully for those who offer essential services. I think that it's a good move because it gives employees autonomy in terms of their time, and it also shows employees that a company is interested in their well-being. Because if COVID is here and it looks like it's here to stay for a while.
Yes.
So as an employer, you have to think about, how do I make my employees feel safe to deliver on their work, but also ensure that we've achieved the company objectives and goals
pretty much
going forward.
Yes, Rose, I'm going to come back to you on that because I hear the key words you're saying. How do I make my employees safe, comfortable within that? Because there's a lot of talking points around that area. Let me get back to you, Ola. Now, Bolt has already a very high number of users. Looking at the data on our screens right now since August 2017 to April 2020, meaning that the revenue benefits have gone up. Good. Now, Ola, take us through the piloting of your hybrid office concept and the idea behind it.
Okay, thanks, Simba. Thanks for having me. I think I would say for us, we have, in a way, as a technology company for quite a while, had to simulate between having the teams work fully or in scenarios where individuals in the team or members of the team have to travel.
Yes.
And work still has to be done, right? So I think even right before the pandemic, there's been that kind of scenario going on. But leading into when the pandemic hit within our business here in Care, there was a reason for us to take things more serious when it comes to adopting a hybrid form of work. And for us, the fundamental idea around that are in two parts. One part is to ensure that we are able to continue to provide safe and the most secure way for our staff, members of the team, to continue to work and deliver their productivity. And then on the other side as well, I mean, I think as what Rose said, it's pretty much like the future of work in a way that you're still able to see productivity remain the same or even jump up based on whatever kind of work mode or office mode that you want to set up for the team. So for us, based on these two reasons, we decided to go into the hybrid way of working where we're able to allow some members of the team work from the office and some can work from remotely, working from anywhere that they feel convenient to do. And then we ensure that we enable each individual, depending on their choice, to achieve the productivity that they would like to achieve, and that would be beneficial to the company, regardless of where they work from.
Pretty much all. I'm going to come back to you on what the key lessons have been and what those people working from home want you to do or do not want you to do. Now, boss, let me come back to you as well. I mean, you're the head of growth dealing with human resource management. Why do most employees prefer working from home? Which begs for me to ask this question: what are we doing wrong in the office as human resource managers?
Well, I think that employees are now preferring to work from home because, I mean, in Kenya, for example,
Yes.
there's a lot of traffic. So you spend almost, depending on where you live and where you work, you'll spend maybe 2 to 4 hours on the road on commute daily. So that's one area that employees feel like I'm saving time. I can spend time with my children. I can do more house chores. I can organize my home. I can also put in some extra work. The other thing is, apart from saving time on commute, there's the ability to carve out time and plan your day in such a way that there are there's not much interruption.
Yes.
So apart from, of course, the calls you get from your supervisor or from your team members, you can easily block out your day or your specific times of the day to accomplish certain aspects of work. So essentially, you actually become more productive. Of course, it depends on your work. If your work requires more collaboration, there are tools to do that. But I think that those two things are what employees are looking at now in terms of preferring to work from home.
Wait, Rose, just before I get back to all of the enforcers, that we see exactly what those guys are working from home are demanding and compare that with working in an office. Are we saying that in essence, this 8 to 5 sort of system of working is not that effective as we had thought earlier on?
Definitely, I think it all depends on the nature of work, because there are those that require you in the office at that specific time.
Yes.
But essentially, how work is going, if you can be able to have a laptop, you have
Yes.
internet, and you have a software to help you work or a tool to help you be productive in whatever you're supposed to do, then you can essentially work from anywhere. Then 8 to 5 becomes almost non-existent. It's more of, what are you delivering? What are your goals? And are you meeting those goals that are required by the company? And then you can plan yourself around that, because companies are moving from task-based to more goals and deliverables-based kind or results-based kind of approach. So if you're not delivering on the goals or the results that you're supposed to, then it's easy for an employer to say, okay, here you're not doing well, so can we do this 1, 2, 3, or you're out. So I think that, yeah, that's what my thoughts are around.
Pretty much. Rose, I'm going to come back to you on that because I think you're leading to an area that everybody wants to hear you speak about. But just before we get back to you, let's get back to Ola. Ola, yes, now you've decided to go through the hybrid system. What are the demands of the people who are working from home? Because we had conversations of other corporates and other professionals who are saying, if you make somebody work from home, to that extent, they can even ask you to pay their rent, to pay their electricity charges, to pay their internet. What are you giving them? Where is the balance?
Okay, so I think the central point here is to look at it not as forcing anybody to work from home,
Yes.
but more around creating the choice. So it's more like just entrenching democracy in work style, in a way where you create the choice for people to make, or for the members of your team to make, between coming to the office where they would have all of the tools that they need, and then also during the pandemic, they're able to have other safety measures to keep them safe and confident that they're going to be safe, or giving them the choice to work remotely. It could be from home, it could be from a cafe, it could be from a restaurant or an eatery, or wherever it is that you choose to work from outside of the office. And then what the company would do in that instance as well is to provide for you the tools, to provide for you the enablement, basically, for you to work from any of these different places. So centrally, as I said, it's about giving that choice or making that choice available, and then ensuring that you provide the enabling environment regardless of the choice that is picked for the employee, and then also, of course, for the business, because the business also has to be prioritized in this scenario. So that choice is what leads to individuals deciding to say, okay, maybe Mondays and Fridays I would come to the office, and then the other days of the week I would decide to work from home or work from a cafe or something. And it's totally fine since the company at the beginning of that introduction of the hybrid work style would have ensured to make sure there is the enablement that allows anybody to make a choice that would still keep them productive.
Pretty much. Just Ola, does that change your role as a manager? What have you found yourself really doing that you weren't really doing if you have everybody in the office?
This is an interesting question. So, I mean, I think for one, there is that awareness that you likely wouldn't be seeing every member of your team every day.
Yes.
So what that leads to for you as a manager is you need to create a scenario where you're still able to ensure human interaction, you're still able to ensure the kinds of engagements that you want to. So it could be in terms of you ensuring that you communicate with your teams beyond sending emails, maybe with phone calls or however way you want to do it. Or you would want to ensure that for every time that you have a direct physical interaction with your employee, you utilize it as best as you can, because I mean, the employee can decide to not come to work the next day, which is okay, but there still has to be that level of human interaction happening at every point.
Pretty much. Rose, so let me get back to you as well. And my question to you is going to be this. I mean, well, yes, companies now are waking up to the realization it's possible to work from home. We won't really have to go to the office. So talk to me. From a cost perspective, how do you start analyzing? Because then if you're going to change your mode of working, then you have to analyze also from a cost perspective. And where do you start from? How do you start?
Okay, so I think that first of all, you look at your number of employees. How many employees do you have?
Yes.
And what are the teams? What is the team structure? The number of employees that you have, and what work are they doing? Then from there, look at what are they doing now. I mean, what were they doing? Of course, COVID started and people started working remotely, but what were they doing before the hybrid or the remote work? And what are they doing? What would they be doing if they completely move remotely, or you give them the option of choosing remote versus hybrid model? So you have to look at what those teams would look like and what activities they're supposed to do pre and post hybrid or remote working. Then look at what enablement tools will you need to use and how much would those cost.
Yes.
So if do they have laptops? Do they have internet?
Yes.
Will you provide internet for them? Do they have phones? Will you provide smartphones? And even in the event, I mean, remote work presents certain challenges, including power outages and things like that. So what happens in such a case? What is the mitigation measures that you're going to take if that happens? And then, of course, you look at secure access. If someone is working remotely, how do they access your systems in a secure way? So, of course, you have to engage your IT team to look at what costs, to analyze the cost that will be involved with that. And then, of course, if there's a hybrid model, you have to look at when they're in the office, what social distancing and safety measures are you going to take? And what will that mean? Will it mean having those sinks and soap, or does it mean having sanitizers? Does it mean having them spaced out in the office? How many people can you take at a time? So you have to look at that as well. And then, of course, analyze the costs related to that.
Yes.
And also, it's important to look at well-being and mental health, because there are those, of course, who have issues at home. So there's a bit of transparency that there needs to be between the employer and the employee around the work situation at home. Do you have a home office? Are you working from the couch? Are you working from your bed? Are you working from the bedroom? Do you have children? Are they young, or are they on homeschooling, or are they old enough to understand when you tell them, I'm working, I'm on an online meeting? So you have to look at all this in entirety and look at what would that mean for you as a business in terms of cost of money, how much spend you need to do, and in terms of productivity, so that you meet your company goals and objectives.
Pretty much. Rose, another question I want to ask you with this. Has COVID-19 changed the culture? Do we have a Kenyan culture? People saying, well, I mean, you gotta go to the office for you to work. Is that what we're trying to fight right now? And do you think that now there's this shift? Is it permanent, or are we waiting for COVID-19 to end? And then we say, guys, our culture is that you gotta wake up in the morning, get into your car or into your public transport means and go to work.
Well, I would say it's like a 50-50 chance here, because companies have to have confidence that their employees are being productive, and they have to see that at play.
Yes.
If there is no productivity, then definitely the supervisor or the company owner or the business owner will be like, okay, I mean, you're not in the office, but I'm not seeing results. So definitely come back. But if there's results and there's that collaboration and you figured out a system that works for the company, then it's easy to say we are going to move to an option where you can choose between flexible or remote, and make that work for you. So I think companies have to look at, and even employees have to look at, how does this whole situation play out in terms of moving the company forward and moving, of course, myself forward as an employee and moving my career forward. Without that, it will be very easy for us to go back to old habits,
Yes.
to go back to what we are used to. Because definitely the reason why employers most of the time will say, I want to see you in the office, is that lack of transparency and a bit of lack of trust that you're going to deliver, because you've not shown me that you can deliver, or that you can do what I've told you to do, even when I cannot see you here in the office. So there's going to be a lot of communication that's needed and a lot of transparency to make this work.
Ola, let me get back to you as well on this then, because you're the only one who can tell us whether it's working or not. Have you seen an increase in productivity from some of your members who are working from home? What can you report? And you can paint whatever picture you want, Ola, but we could pick something from there.
Okay, so in a very simple and short way,
Yes.
We have definitely. I would walk you through why. So on one end is the fact we have a longer time of the day for you to work,
Yes.
if you cut out the commute period to get to work and the commute period to get back home early enough before the curfew. Beyond that is the fact that there is also that sense of personal responsibility that comes from the company side and from you as an individual who want to show in and show up and do good work. And that as well we've seen has helped and also incentivized productivity, or an increase in or improvement in productivity. Beyond that as well is the fact that in introducing the hybrid work concept within Bolt, what we did not do was to have that press conference and say, hey, now we have done this, everybody deal with it.
Yes.
We basically had the team make that decision. And for us as a business, it was totally okay, because it's literally the future of work. So we saw ourselves giving them an option, or giving employees an option, and employees also making an option, all of us, moving towards the future of work. It was a total win-win, and it's been pretty good in terms of the increase in productivity based on those reasons, and as I mentioned earlier. And another point I think I should include is the fact that safety is also super paramount. So either the safety of our staff, the safety of people that visit us in the office, stakeholders, or customers and the rest, and then of course the safety of the community at large. So whatever it is we can do to contribute to ensuring Kenya comes out strong from the pandemic, even if it includes these hybrid work concepts that we have done, we will totally do that to ensure of the nation as a whole.
Pretty much. Rose, can you carve for us this conversation now? We keep on talking about the future of work. What is the future of work, Rose? From what you said this morning, what is this thing about the future of work?
Okay, so I think that future of work covers different aspects.
Yes.
Of course, the 8 to 5 kind of framework of work, and moving people from working in their office when you can see them, to giving them autonomy to work from where they are, whether they are in a restaurant, in the office, at home. Like, you give them that autonomy to choose where they need to work. So that's one aspect of the future of work.
Yes.
The future of work also refers to the skills and the requirements in the job market as we move towards more and more tech solutions. So what kind of roles are we looking at in future? I was reading yesterday that there's a role now called the head of remote. Who knew that would happen? a head of remote, someone who's sort of managing the whole hybrid and the whole remote working thing to make sure that onboarding is good, because onboarding affects how employees integrate into the organization. There's things around performance. How do you structure your performance management in the organization when some people are working in the office, some people are working at home, and you've given people that autonomy to work from anywhere? How does that look like? So even in terms of roles and skill sets, that will change, because now you're seeing so many free online courses. You can literally become anything you want from just studying online. So that also creates a global view, so that if I, as an individual, I'm in Kenya and I'm in Nairobi, I'm actually able to get a job in the US or in the UK while still working from here. And so it means that I, as an individual, I need to make myself sort of like cutting edge and make myself learn more skills so that I can be able to compete with in the global market. So I would look at future of work in those two aspects, being able to work from anywhere and also being able to access a global market in terms of skills and jobs.
Pretty much. Ola, Rose, thank you very much for joining us here on a Business AM.
Thank you, Simba.
This has been quite a conversation.
Thank you, Simba.
All right, on that note, we take a short break here on Business AM. Once we come back, top issues that you're waking up to in the economy this morning.